What I'm going to do is go through a quick overview with the speaking, and then we'll have a chance to practice some speaking communication, some of the tasks towards the second part of our session. So I'm going to share the screen. First of all, I'll just do a quick introduction. My name is Trevor Fall. I've been teaching English since 1998 and IELTS exam preparation and CAN test, a Canadian exam, since 2004. And then the last few years, I've been helping students with Celpip. So today we're going to go through speaking tasks 1 and 2 for the Celpip. And over the last 2 months, I've taken several weeks to talk about writing and strategies and how to improve your writing skills. And then also in September, we talked about reading and also listening strategies and skills from that. So I'm going to start by sharing the screen. So this first information is taken from the Celpip website. This is celpip.ca. So on the top right-hand corner, there's 3 little bars. And when I click on there, and there's Take Celpip, which is general information, Prepare for Celpip, and I've gone down and I've clicked on Test Scores, because I want students to understand how is the Celpip scored from this. So on the Test Scores site, web page, as I go down, it talks about the description of those, and you can click on that and see the different categories. I'm not going to go into much detail today because you can read that on your own. It says here, download score descriptors. What I want to talk about is the score comparison chart. And so here they have speaking and writing scores. Then they have the different levels, and under each level, so I'll just click on level 5. It has a description of what that level students can do at that level. It has some sample responses with some questions, and then it has a teacher's feedback on those questions. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes and talk about a level 5 and then a level 9 response. You can read the other levels and responses at a later time. And then we'll have some practice, like I said, with tasks 1 and 2. So at a level 5, let's see what the responses are. So with task A, you're talking about helping somebody make a decision. So it says your friend has graduated with a business degree and been offered a job overseas. The job would be an excellent opportunity, but she's not sure about moving far away from friends and family. Give her advice on what she would consider when making her decision. So there's our audio recording with the information that a sample student at this level would make. And then there's the transcript information from that. So I'm not going to go through the whole section, but we'll listen to maybe 20 or 30 seconds, and then we'll see what a teacher commented about this response from this student.
I can say that leaving our family, to find our job, it's very hard. But as I, as we all know, that the opportunity knocks just once. So maybe if there's a opportunity that comes in your lap, just grab it. Regardless that you will leave your family and friends, all we need, especially we are graduated.
Okay, so I'll just pause there, but we can see that as she's speaking, it's slow. There's frequent pauses between her phrases and words, and it's not very organized as she moves from idea to idea. She's kind of remembering and adding pieces of information. There is a second task here. I'm not going to go into as much detail. Again, you can look at this on your own time after on this website, and they have the transcript of what was said. So when I look at the response analysis, it talks about the different areas of what this person has done. So they can communicate feelings and preferences. So it talks about some additional reasons for taking the job. They're describing common objects and situations. They're telling a little bit about a story. I can say leaving our family to find a job, it's very hard. They're using regular common words: opportunity, communications, computer system, but sometimes there's words that they're not able to identify or to use. And with task fulfillment, they're talking about a familiar topic. So I would rather find a job than leave my family. So it's basic information that they can communicate and explain to someone else. What I usually recommend for students is to then look at a sample 7. So look at a sample that's 2 above you. So we are looking at level 5. So I would recommend, because of our time, I'm not going to look at a sample 7 now, but I would say go and look at a sample 7 response and their teacher's analysis. But I will take a little bit of time. Let's look at what a level 9 is of what we're aiming for. So they have the same question about graduating with a business degree and being offered a job overseas. Let's listen to the first 20-30 seconds of this speaker, and you'll see the difference in how they're communicating their ideas.
Hey Joanne, congratulations on graduating with a business degree and getting a job. I understand the job is an excellent opportunity. Though it is overseas, you shouldn't be worried about moving away from your friends and family. I think this job would be a great fit for your skill set, and you'll be able to grow higher in the organization at a much faster pace. I understand that staying away from your family is causing you a lot of discomfort, but there is always vacation where they could travel to your place or you could travel back home.
Okay, so again, I won't play the whole thing. You can listen to all of it, but you can see compared to a level 4, there's much smoother sections as the person is speaking. There's still some pauses, which is okay. Having a pause or two is fine as you're thinking of your ideas and then collecting your thoughts from section to section. But you can see that this person has more dialogue and more interaction and explaining it's okay to go and travel and to see different things. So if I go down, and again, there's a task 2 where you can listen to that response and compare it with a level 7 and a level 5. And if I look at what the response from the teachers, so it talks here about in task A, they're giving several supporting reasons why it's good to take the job. So vacations, professional growth, applying knowledge. It's organized with several linking words: and, but, so, and useful phrases. And these areas help make it more sophisticated in their communicating. They're using more common and specific vocabulary. So skill set is talk when talking more in a business environment or a workplace environment. I don't usually use that in day-to-day conversation if I meet somebody at the store or the restaurant. Grow to great heights is a phrase that's not as common. So they're able to add a higher level of English in their speaking. Their grammar in some complex sentences is good. So they're not just having short, simple sentences in how they're extending and responding. And it's a friendly tone. They start by saying a person's name. So it's as if they're speaking to that person right away. And I think that's very important. When you're writing or speaking for Celpip, they want you to imagine that you're in that situation and you're explaining or talking to that person, that sister, the brother, your boss, the restaurant waiter or waitress, whatever situation they put you in, you need to act as if you're in that situation with that person. So as I mentioned at the start of this is just a quick overview. There are all 12, let me just go up here and show you. So there are all 12 levels where they give you speaking samples and scores that you can go through. And I encourage you to explore and look at that a little bit, because if you've already taken Celpip, that'll give you an idea of why you got the score you did. And if you haven't taken Celpip yet, this will give you an idea of what you're aiming for with a level 9 or a level 10. So what I'd like to do for the rest of the class is let's look at the sample exam. And so what I've opened up is, again, on the top right-hand corner, under Prepare for Celpip, they have a section, if you go down the page, where it says Take the Sample Test. And when I click on there, I'll just go through, it opens a new tab. and you can take the regular test or just the listening speaking practice. So under start, they give you 2 choices and some instructions, and then you can choose the whole test or each section. So we're going to look at the speaking part 1 and 2. They give us some instructions for this section.
Speaking.
And there's a 50-second, or well, here in this case, a 1:12 overview. But what I want to have us spend a bit of time on is the questions. And you can see here with these questions, when speaking, you're given a certain amount of time to prepare. Most of the questions, it's 30 seconds, but there's 2 or 3 questions where you have 60 seconds, 1 minute. And then most of the time you're responding in about 60 seconds. And then the recorder just stops. But with a couple of questions, so with this question, for example, of giving advice, they give you 90 seconds
speaking now
for you to respond or to speak. So the question here is, a friend is looking for a summer job. Advise him about different ways that he can work for the summer. And so I'll give you about 30 seconds, and then I want each of you to give a response. I'll keep track of how long you're responding, like how many seconds you're taking when you're giving a response, and I'll also take a couple of notes. And this is just to give you a chance to practice speaking for this. So I'll give you about 30 seconds, and then I'll ask you guys to give your response. What advice would you give to this person? Okay. So Tofik, I'll just give you a quick overview. We're talking about giving advice to a friend. And so you'll have during the Celpip exam about 30 seconds to look at the information, and then you'll have about a 1.5 minutes. So I'll give you a few seconds to look at this, and then we'll take turns answering this question. And I'll keep track of your time and take a couple of notes.
Time is up.
While you're answering the question. Okay. So Chi, I'm going to ask you to go first because I know that you practiced a little bit in the past with me.
Yeah.
Let me just, I'm just going to put my timer on my phone here so that we have this. And I'm not going to be, you don't have to worry about being exact at 90 seconds. This is just to give an idea of how long you are speaking. So you can start, and then we'll hear your response, and I'll take a few notes.
Okay. Oh, hey, so you're looking for a summer job? I mean, you can always check for websites, and there are lots of job advertising there, but I think they are not so useful. What I recommend you, maybe you can walk around your neighborhood and check all the stores which had wanted signs on them, so you can apply directly to them. And if the manager is already there, I think your chance is more better than to find a job in a website. I don't know.
Okay. It's okay. Anything else? You're at about 50 seconds. Any other?
Oh my God. So yeah, I mean, okay. This can work. And also, what can you do? Maybe you can find some volunteer jobs, and they can offer you to other places, maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Good. Okay. So yeah, no, that's fine. That's why we're here. We're here to practice.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird.
Yeah, and it's not easy, is it? When you're actually with the timer and you're trying to think of ideas. But no, that was good. You had a couple of ideas and a couple of things. Krishna, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. Uh, Hi Ash, like I would like to give you some tips about how to look for a summer jobs. Like there are different ways. Like you can search out on a web, and sometimes like some stores also put a note or like a poster outside of their display, just to they are looking for a summer help. Sometimes you can find job fair in public centers like library or mall or other units, where you can go and apply for a summer jobs. It's about the look around for the resources whichever you find it. And obviously if you don't want to roam around, you can always look for on a web to find a summer job. That's the best option to save your time and to look for a job.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect. And Tofik.
Yeah. So to find a job in the summer, first of all, you need to prepare your resume that so it will be suitable for temporary jobs. I would recommend that you would use the government websites, the bank job, to find new posted jobs on it. And I would suggest that you will focus your search on the temporary jobs only, since they won't require any big experience or specific credentials. From my experience, I can advise you to see some camps websites. They usually recruit at this time of year some monitors for their leisure groups for kids, and also they offer like a 15 days like a course of 15 days to prepare you for that. And if you are good with swimming, you could also apply to be like a lifeguard at the beach. At the beginning of the summer, they have only a small test that you should take to see how good you are at swimming, and the pay is really good. Otherwise, there are some cities that you can check their websites, like local governments that would organize some festivals during the summer, but note that these kind of jobs would be shorter than the full length of summer. That's all for me.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. So overall, good job, all three of you. As you're speaking and interacting, what I like when I'm hearing all three of you, like we listened to the sample 4 and then the sample 9, the fluency of the speed of how you're speaking for all three of you is actually quite smooth. I didn't hear a lot of pauses, or even when you're thinking about the next idea, it was a natural pause. It wasn't like, well, like it was able to go from idea to idea. What a lot of students studying for Celpip, one way to quickly make an increase is think about how you're writing a paragraph. And if you've seen my videos on how you're getting a main idea and then you're introducing 2 or 3 descriptive examples or details, there's transition signals that we can use to put in easily to move from point to point. So in this case, the main idea is looking for a summer job, and then you could easily move into saying, for example, on the other hand, in addition, secondly, a third way. So practicing, like writing down or having a list of those words, and I can send you, I have a 1-page summary of many of the transition signals and some of the average ones and the great ones, because we often use the same ones over and over. But just using some of those helps organize with your ideas as you're explaining. And for this, it's a little bit less formal, but with some of the questions in the speaking exam, you'll find that that's helpful, especially when you're talking about 2 different opinions or making a choice or explaining or arguing to somebody about a specific idea from there. I'm just kind of wondering whether we, because of our time, I'm wondering, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example. So I'll speak, and I haven't practiced this, so I'll just give you a sample. And then next week, or in our next class, we'll look at, because I was going to do 1 and 2 today, speaking tasks, but I think we'll just end off with just 1 because I spent more time explaining what the standards are and how you're marked. And then next week, we'll look at task 2, task 3, and task 4 all together. And that'll give us a bit more practice because these are 30-minute sessions. So let me just start the timer for myself. I'll give you a sample of just what I would say. You're going to see it's not going to be a perfect either, but you'll see based on what you guys have said and my response or idea from this. So I'm just going to reset that. Okay. Hi, John. I heard that you're looking for a summer job. And as you know, especially now in March and April, it's a common good time to start looking. I know that you have a little bit of experience working with some kids because you were volunteering last year at the local community center. So one way for you to look for a summer job would be to find the summer sports camps, because I know you're really good at basketball as well. And so if you're looking under camps, if you search on Google for camps in Toronto, that will give you a list of different camps. Another way is if you want to find a job in a regular store is to just look around when you're shopping for groceries, or if you go into Walmart. I know in the summertime, a lot of these stores have casual or part-time jobs available, usually just for June, July, and August during the summertime. A third way for you to be looking for a job would be to go online. And I know because you work with kids and because you have some experience, you could just search for jobs with kids and then put it into Google with Toronto, and that will help you also come up with a couple of ideas. So good luck in finding a job, and I hope that you're able to find a job quickly. Okay, so I was kind of going through, I added in a few transition signals. For myself, it's still not easy. And that's why for a lot of students, they think, well, I'm just speaking, I don't really need to practice much. But I know with the speaking exam for Celpip specifically, because it's a very short time and you have a time limit, you do need to practice with a timer. And myself or other teachers I work with, even for us, it's not a quick, easy answer when we're asked to practice these different questions. Before we end off, are there any questions that you might have? Okay.
So we can make up a story, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And actually in some of the instructions or guide, like the books that I've read through in helping people with Celpip, you actually want to make it real as if you're in that situation.
Okay.
So for example, if it says your boss wants you to choose between adding more bicycle racks or parking spaces at work, well, maybe I don't work somewhere where there's parking, or I work from home, or I'm in Walmart, but I have to write or speak in the way as if I'm in that situation. So you will have situations that aren't real that you're responding to or answering. Yeah. And yeah, like that's where there's always, like, you're not going to lie, but you can give it but you can give information. Like you can say, oh yeah, for example, last year when I was working, I was the lifeguard at this summer camp, so I want to apply again, or maybe you weren't a lifeguard at the summer camp, but you're playing the role of answering in that situation.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, Okay, that's a good question. So there's a question that came in. Do they cut marks if you're unable to speak for a given time? Yes, your aim is to get to that 60 seconds or the 90 seconds. So like, for example, here with 90 seconds, if you only were speaking for, let's say 70 seconds, like a minute, 10 seconds, you're going to get a little bit lower mark. It's not across all 4 areas that we're giving marks in, but it will reflect in a lower score because you're not able to fill up the time. And that's where, when you're watching, there'll be a little bar on the screen that will go fuller as you're speaking. As it's getting near the end, because that's what I was doing when I watched the timer, as I got close to a minute and 30 seconds, 90 seconds, I started thinking, how do I summarize this with my last sentence? So if you're running out of things to say, then add the, secondly, in addition, and try to think of another reason. If you're close to the end and you still have lots to say, you have to figure out, how do I summarize and then stop on time or close to on time.
I mean, if you cannot finish, then they will cut the mark again, right?
Yeah, so like if you're close to finishing, like you can still get a 9 or a 10 because there's many other areas that we're evaluating. So the time isn't the biggest factor. Maybe it's only a couple of % of that's affecting you. So I know with one of the samples, I think it's under sample 9, the person doesn't finish the whole thing, but they're still given a 9, a Celpip 9 score. So yeah, you don't have to go. You don't have to be exactly at 1 minute or 90 seconds, but it will affect your mark a little bit, especially if you have lots of pauses and then you end off like with half the time remaining or something. So I've put into the chat box the, Tofik and Chi, you're both familiar with us and our system, but I do a 30-minute Celpip session, a 30-minute IELTS session, and then a 30-minute conversation. So I've put the link in for the IELTS session. I'm going to switch over to that link because sometimes students join us that just want help with their IELTS. And it's also on speaking, so we'll talk about task 1 in speaking. There's 3 parts in this IELTS speaking exam. And then in 30 minutes, we'll have a conversation class, and we're going to talk about the cost of living in Canada compared to other countries. And just when you're buying, how do you budget for things in a month or in a year if you're going to buy different things in Canada. So thank you guys for joining us, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the IELTS session next.
Thank you.
See you. See you.
Bye.